Okay, so again, welcome to the iCANX-Talks, the special Young Scientists Forum today. So I take my privilege and great pleasure to introduce next speaker, a rising star from Xiamen University, Professor Hou Xu. He is a chemist. He received his PhD from Chinese Academy of Sciences in 2011. And then he did a postdoc at Harvard University from 2012 to 2015. And then he moved back to Xiamen University as a full professor now. He published 2 books, 38 papers, including journals like Nature Journal, Nature Serious Journals, and Science Advances. And he also received 20 patents. His research has been well recognized by many awards as a young scientist, including the Microsystem and Nano Engineer Summit 2019 Young Scientist Award. He also represents the number 100 chemical element, fermium in periodic table of young scientists of International for Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry in 2019. And then he also represents the number 33 elements, as you know, arsenic in periodic table of young scientists of China. He also received the Young Investigator Award of Colloid and Interface Chemistry 2019, the Chinese Chemical Society Award for Young Scientists, Young Chemists 2019. He also received the Harvard University Postdoc Award for Promotion Development. Without further introduction, please join me to welcome Professor Hou to give us a talk today. So the podium is for Professor Hou, please.
Thanks, Professor Trey. So first, hello everyone. Good evening. First, I want to thank the invitation from the iCAN-Talks organizers and also Professor Zhang. And today, my talk will focus on the Smart Multi-Scale Pore and channel. So here is just outline my tonight talk. First, I will give a very simple background introduction. So learning from nature, which means take the idea from nature and developing novel function materials based on this concept. The bioinspired materials are attracting more and more interest because their unique properties, which have proved the way to many applications. Here, just give several examples. We can see the node leaves, water strider, shark skin, and leaf pores. All this is from the microphenomena biomedical studies and the micro and nanostructure to achieve the macro functions. And we can also find the microphenomena biomedical study and the micro and nanostructure to achieve the macro functions. Here, just give a simple example, just like blood vessel, nuclear pores, or ion channels. And we all know that pore and channel are everywhere. They play critical roles in many applications. Here, just give several demonstrations. For example, the desalination, oil water separation, or some chemical analysis, or DNA sequences, or micro nano devices. So for the different scale system, because of the size effect, there are very different scientific questions in each system. Our research interests are most focused on nano and micro scale. For example, at the micro scale, people are interested in the capillary. At the nano scale, people pay more attention to the electrostatic interactions. So our group research interests include here just show that the micropore and channel and the nanopore channel. Firstly, I will introduce microscale system, the bioinspired liquid gating system. When we mention gate, the concept of gate in people's mind have always been in the front of solid. So inspired by American science fiction films, Stargate, alien technology uses the dynamic liquid Stargate to do the time travels. I was thinking about if we can get a liquid gate in our real life, is that possible? But the reality is that at the macro scale, the liquid has a very strong mobility, and the interaction between the molecular is not as strong as the particle in the solid. So the liquid will change at any time owing to the gravity and other force effect. So the liquid will soon flow away, which is impossible to get a stable liquid. Here just show a very high speed camera. So we can see that the liquid have very ideally perfect structures in a very short time, but we cannot keep it. So which means liquid cannot form a stable gate at the macro scale. What is the difference at the micro scale? So nature have already given us idea to use the very small pores. Here just gave that in the aveners. The micro scale non-pores can hold the liquid to form a liquid gate and open and close with a pressure gradient. And here just show that. There are about 300 and 400 million averages in endosons, with a total areas nearly 100 square meters. All of them are about the size of 50 tennis tables that provide a very efficient gas exchange interface. I just show this data. So with the very large view, we here just show the average pores, and the diameter here is about 100 to 200 micrometers. So with a very large view, we see here, with the SEM image, we can see the pores. And the scale bar is about 20 micrometers. So the small pores of the electrical contractible avenue can well regulate the mass transport under the pressure gradient. So here just shows the specific structure and function of the aveners. The pore of cone, which is covered with a sufficient layer. You see here, the liquid layer. So inspired by the pore of cones, here shows our bioinspired concept of a liquid gating membrane. I will hypothesize that a liquid filled pores could promote such a unified gating, ununified gating strategy to drive from the idea that a high affinity liquid stabilized in the micropores offers a unique combination of dynamic and interfacial behaviors. So the bioinspired liquid gating membranes make full use of the advantage of the dynamic liquid and the porous structures, and realize a very stable liquid solid composite membrane-based materials by the physical chemical design of the material interface. So here, just we put forward the concept of liquid membrane as used as, you can see here the very short video to demo the concept. So for the traditional system, we have the pores, these are the solid pores, the transport liquid or transport fluid will be the solid liquid interface. They have a specific critical pressure to make sure the liquid can flow the pores. But how about the liquid gating membrane? What's the difference? You can see that. Now we have the same pores, solid pores, but we design the specific gating liquid. They will line the pores. Now, if the same transport liquid through the pores, what's the difference? Previously, the solid liquid interface. Now, solid liquid interface. Liquid interface makes the difference. You see the pressure will be lower than the traditional system. So, the energy saving less pressure. And also, the gating liquid can protect the solid part to avoid the dust or particles of solid inside the pores. As it goes out, the will be brought and the pressure will be increased. So the anti-fouling properties can also increase the energy saving. So here just shows the concept of a liquid gate. So we can see for traditional system, here the gas through the pores, if the pore is micropores, gas can easily through the pore because the molecular size is much smaller than the pore size. But for the liquid, they want to conquer the capillary force, which have specific critical pressure to make sure the liquid can through the pores. and they cannot avoid the liquid absorbed inside the pores. But our new idea is use the liquid as a gate and the solid as a walls. So by playing with the capital force, we will have both critical pressure for gas and the liquid, which is different from traditional system. So here, if the gas wants through the pores, they will have a specific critical pressure for gas. And all this critical pressure of gas and liquid, we see here, is above 0. And the gating liquid can also protect, you see here, protect the pore inner surface to avoid the transport liquid attach the surface. Now here just shows our setup. You see here, this is our liquid gating membrane. So for traditional system, if you use different materials, for example, PVDF, PP, lino materials with the same pore size, when the gas through the pores, the pressure will be 0 here. But even for the same membrane as the solid materials, but you have the same gating liquid, you can get the different specific gating liquid, critical pressure for the gas through the membrane. And you see here, you just show that if we continue to measure the pressure change, you can see for traditional, the pressure is always 0, and the liquid gating system will have a specific critical pressure here. And for the liquid, they will also give the specific critical pressure for liquid, and the liquid gating system, the pressure is lower than the traditional pore membrane system. And here I want to mention one very interesting phenomenon, that for general ideas, the critical pressure for gas is always smaller than for liquid. Here, you see here, the critical pressure for liquid is always larger than the gas. But in our system, if we design the dynamic liquid interface with the specific gating liquid and the transport liquid, we can even get the critical pressure for gas is larger than the critical pressure for liquid here. With different direction flow, the result is the same. And also here shows another advantage of liquid gating membranes. So the advantages for the motor-free separations. So for the traditional closed system, if we infuse gas liquid here, the outlet will be the same because there is no place to release liquid and the liquid and gas. So this is a closed system. So if we have pore membrane system, the pore membrane can either let the gas through the pore membrane, so the gas can be released, and the liquid can continue to travel inside the channel. So easily to separate the gas and liquid in this in the pore membrane system. And with the pressure increase, even the liquid can through the pore membranes. But for our liquid gating membrane system, you can see here, we can easily achieve the closed system. If you see here, the inlet from this side, from the liquid and gas here. And by simply control the pressure, the outlet will be the same. There is no gas from here. So easily achieve the gating system. But by just simply change the pressure, you see here, we still infuse the gas liquid here. You see there a water drop as a markers. The gas can push the marker move forward, which means gas can through here and the liquid come up here. So in this simple system, they can achieve the closed system and also pore system just in one system. And also, according to the different critical pressure for different fluids, and we can also use this to separate different phase. For example, here just shows the air, water, oil. And here just to summarize that, in our system, we can choose this energy saving property of liquid gating membranes just from two directions. One is we can reduce the threshold of transmembrane working pressures. We can also to reduce the fouling issues to also make this energy savings. So this slide shows the difference between the traditional solid pore membrane, the liquid membrane, and the liquid gating membrane. The gating liquid of the membrane can close the pores perfectly. At the same time, it's difficult to avoid absorption pollutions on the inner surface of the solid pore membranes. And the stable liquid attachment layers of the liquid gating membrane can avoid or weaken this process well. It is a pressure driving the gating system compared to the liquid membrane system. This is a chemical driving system. So new concept, new challenge. So if we only solid liquid interface designed, we think we will greatly limit the development and the application of this new system. So I'm thinking about if we can design and study the liquid gating membrane by constructing a dynamic materials interface system, we think which will be a new opportunity for the development of a smart application of the liquid gating system and lead the new development in these areas. Also compare with the traditional pore membrane system. Our responsive liquid gating membrane has many features. Here just show several. For example, they will, because it's liquid interface, and they can provide the defect-free material interface. And the liquid can very easily to achieve the transparency. And always there will be a large area molecular scale, ultra smooth surface. And also this dynamic, so they can easily to achieve the self-recovery and the anti-fouling, anti-icing, and so on. So here shows our research ideas of responsive liquid gating membrane systems. They have three parts about this design ideas. The first idea is about the very two important interface. Here just show that is the design of the solid liquid interface between the gating liquid and the pore membrane here. And another one is the design of a liquid gas or liquid gas and a liquid interface between the gating liquid and the traceable fluid here. So by playing with this very important liquid, very important interface systems, so we can design our liquid gating membrane system. And then we can use this two design system to do this applied fundamental research. And we can use different responsive parts. I mean, we can design the gating liquid with response to the different epidemic stimuli. We can also make the solid part. The pore membrane system can respond to different actual stimuli. For example, we can make this stress response, thermal response, function liquid response, or electricity field response, magnetic field response, or photo response, and so on. Then we can move forward to do the real applications. And here just shows several typically our current research progress about the application research. We can use our liquid gating technology to deal with the multi-phase separation application, or chemical detection, or air filtration, or agricultural greenhouse membrane system. So next, I will talk about our research progress and give some example. And I mentioned about our liquid gating system can design from the two very important interface. So firstly, I will from the solid part to talk about the design of the solid liquid interface between the gating liquid and the pore membrane. So for the pore membrane-based system, here I will give an example about the separation gas liquid or liquid applications. The idea is very simple. So when we want to use the membrane, pore membrane to separate the gas and liquid, the idea is very simple. We use the membrane here. The membrane can easily let the gas through the membrane and liquid cannot. So just by changing the pressure or just let this system another side with the vacuum or reduce the pressure, the gas can easily through the membrane and liquid cannot. So they can easily achieve the gas-liquid separation. For the liquid-liquid separation is similar. From this, you see here, the blue and the white liquid, this through the membrane with different critical pressure. So you just need to control the pressure with specific areas. And the one liquid can through the membrane, another liquid cannot. So you can easily separate two liquid And the question here is, can we just separate gas, liquid, or any other phase in only one system? Is that possible? And also, can we don't change the pressure to do all this separation process? So this is the question. So based on those questions, we just carry out our experiment. So for the solid pore design, so in 2018, we developed liquid gating elastomer pore membrane system with a dynamically control the gas liquid transport, and which can very fine control and dynamically modulate the sorting of a wide range of gas and liquid and other phase under static state applied pressure. So the advantage for this, why we need steady state applied pressure? You can imagine that if the pressure, some very important membrane separation applications, when pressure change, if they have some chemical reactions, the condition change, there are many results will be changed, the product rate will be changed. But if you have a very stable environment conditions, all this chemical reaction will be maintained. And also, if you change the pressure, if you change the environment pressure, the force applied to the environment will be wasted. So if you only focus on the membrane itself, they can reduce energy cost. So here,
membrane technology is becoming central to more applications such as resource harvest and medicine industry. However, the existing design of most membrane systems is incompetent of handling the complexity of sorting multi-phase substances, and the controllable designs that can precisely sort complex gas and liquid mixtures are also demanded in the fields like generating fuel from microbial reactors and designing cutting-edge microchip diagnostics. To now, the combinations of technologies with precisely dynamic control and anti-folding properties remain challenging. In this work, we'll show a versatile strategy for creating elastomeric microporous membrane-based system that can finely control and dynamically sorting a wide range of gases and liquids with almost no folding. This system is accessible in various environments, pressures, and different size scales. The stability of our system and tunability of the critical pressures are tested by experiments and theoretical calculations.
So here just give the one of the demo for the multi-phase separation. So for another example, next section is about the liquid design. So unlike the sort of solution or organic solvent, so amber molecular sufficient can be rapid and efficient change in the interfacial tension of a function liquid. So here shows our recent works on a non-electric visible microdetection technology based on the liquid gating system. So the idea is very simple. You just can imagine that this is the membrane. Here, this is the membrane, the liquid gating membranes. So for the liquid gating membrane, if we want to open the gate, we have a specific pressure. For example, if the pressure value is 10, and then we have the chamber here, the chamber will have a pressure for about the 8. So the 8 is below the 10, which means when the chamber attached to the liquid gating membrane, the system is very stable because the pressure cannot open the gate. And just like sufficient, we just design the gating liquid like sufficient. You can specifically detect the specific ions or moleculars, and to very efficiently to reduce the surface tension here, the nonlinear decrease, which means now the pressure for the liquid gating membrane, the critical pressure for the liquid membrane will be reduced to 5. So A is about 5, which means now the pressure, the chamber pressure can open the gate. Open the gate, the pressure will release the pressure. Release the pressure, if we have another marker on the other side, the pressure will push the marker move forward. And then we can watch this information. I mean, watch this, the marker move distance to get many informations. So we think that is combined the molecular, the target molecular or ions chemical information or concentration information to the physics, to the pressure change, and then we can just very simply to make this device very simply make the device, and we can use this. We make very convenient to use to do these chemical detections. And then here, just this slide shows that we can detect different ions by use this simple liquid gating technology. And we can also combine the solid part and liquid part to do the collaborative design. For example, we can make this liquid membrane itself can mobile, so they can very sensitive to response to the environment pressure change. And then we can use this to this property in this chemical detection technology. So next, I will very quick to introduce our research works on biosmart microfluidics and biomedical smart nanochannels. So there are some review and concept papers to summarize and perspective this field. I just give one example. Our recently works is to develop the biosmart microfluidic system with a very flexible and stretchable microchannels. Here just shows in one dimension, we can make different shape. And to control the liquid trash through the microchannel. We can also make two-dimensional channel, and with continue to infuse or transport the different fluids, and then to stretch it. Yeah, and we can make also three-dimensional, or also make some defect here. When we stretch it, it can still be very stable. So they may have some potential applications for the biomedical engineering. So we just show very. So next, I will talk about the biomedical smart nanochannel. So for the biomedical smart nanochannel, the first biosmart idea is based on the inner surface modification of artificial nanochannel. So learning from the biological ion channel, the ion channel is molecular, the conformational change can control the different ion transport through this ion channel. So the idea is, okay, inspired by the ion channel, we just use artificial nanochannel, modify the inner surface to mimic the process, to also to want to achieve the ionic transport properties control in this very small nano-confined space. So there are many works, I have many works just use different shape of a single nanochannel and also different function moleculars to do this control the ion transport properties in the nano-confined space. And most recently, we pay more attention on the second design, the biosmart design of the dynamic biological artificial nanochannel. So for the biological system, the deformation of the nanochannel membrane could have very important influence on the cell activities, and also the unclear deformation of mechanism, which will provide different understanding on cell behavior and disease. So inspired by these phenomena, we just have ideas to think about if we can make dynamic artificial nanochannel to study this dynamic system. So how can we, or how to build the dynamic artificial nanochannels? So here shows our first approach by using safety methods to get a very controllable carbon nanotube arrays to prepare the dynamic artificial nanochannel to study the ion trap properties inside the nano-confined space. So here is just a video to better demonstrate.
Air transport in nanochannels is very important to our life activities. They are generally influenced by the factors like size effect, steric configuration, interaction forces, and etc. What kind of factors playing a decisive role has been a controversy, especially when there are dynamic changes in nanospace, because they are subjected to material selections and detection limits. In this work, we report air transport in dynamic nanochannels and probes its dynamic mechanism and determinants.
So we can now make different curvature to this nanochannel and to measure different So in 2018, we organized special issues of small on micro and nano pore and channel system. So if you are interested, you can just download this from Wheelie here, or also send our email. We can send this electronic copy. And then, meanwhile, I have 2 books to introduce and discuss the pore and channel system. So if you're interested, you can give me us an email. So we are happy to send you the electrovision book. So finally, I want to summarize. Here just show our research progress since establishing my group. So we hope our research can prove the way to many applications, such as the energy application and biomedical applications. And we're also seeking academic cooperations and exchange worldwide. Thanks. And finally, I want to thank our group members and all the collaborators and all the funding support. And thank you for your attention. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you very much,
thank you,
Professor Hou, for your wonderful talk. Very interesting idea of the liquid membrane. There are a couple of questions I'd like to ask actually from the audience. There is one question from Hui, and he's from Hou Xu University of Science and Technology. And his question is, it is a great idea of liquid gate membrane. Does it have the physical limitation, physical dimensional limitations? For example, can it be less than 50 nanometer or less? Or it depends on if it is, what is the influential factor of your liquid gate membrane?
Okay, so for the liquid gating membrane, so many people are, and many people are worried about the liquid, the stability of the liquid. So you know that for the liquid itself, they have a different type, different physical properties. Still, we need first to understand or to make clearly understand what's the purpose of you use this liquid gating technology. For example, if you want to do the multi-phase separation, you first need to select the gating liquid. It's immiscible with the traceable fluid. For gas is okay, but for the specific liquid, you need to think about it to design this gating liquid to fix these applications. Yeah, and also if you want to do some chemical detections, you need this gating liquid have a specific properties which can very efficiently to change the substance when they attach to the target ions or moleculars. Yeah, is that?
Okay, good. Good response. There is another question from Arizona. His name is Chen. His question is, how about the speed of liquid gate membrane? In the process, do you need to do special modification or coating on the surface?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, for the time, I think is a very, this is in real time to respond to the environmental pressure change. And this response speed depends on the pore size and also the affinity between this gating liquid and the pore membranes. And for the pore size, there's the most, we may pay attention to is that this mechanical properties. So we all know that with a very small pore size, the membrane itself must have a very high stability. The mechanical property will be good enough to resist the pressure change. For example, if we play with the polymer, if the pore size is much smaller than the micro scale, I think the pore membrane itself cannot work very well. They cannot reversible in this situation. But we still have, we can select different pore materials. For example, we can select metal, which can very stable. So we can make this pore very small, even reach to the nanoscale. Actually, this year we also have SS nano papers to use the metal liquid gating membrane. So if you're interested, you can just to read this paper. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hou. I may ask you the last question about the nano channel that you just developed. It's very interesting to me too. So regarding the fabrication, I understand that you use the tube and then you further the fabrication and get the nanochannel out. So can you make it scale up for a large quantity? And how about the repeatability among the devices that you fabricate?
Okay, so there are two. One is the scale, right?
Right.
So for the scale, it depends on the setup. I mean because this is CVD methods. So if you have a large CVD, so maybe you can make a large scale of the membrane or the film. And also, if you want to get a very thin layers of the carbon nanotube membrane, they need to very specific devices to cut very thin layers. There's also they need to match this device's size. But we can just use many membranes to organize this in one devices to conquer this current disadvantage. Yeah, and also for the second question is for the reverse the stability, right?
Yeah, there's a repeatability among devices, from device to device.
Yeah. You mean the ion transfer properties or the membrane itself?
Right. The ion transfer properties.
Yeah. Well, currently we use multiple walls of the carbon nanotube, so the reversibility is good. But if we want to play with a single wall of carbon nanotube, there's still some challenging. Yeah. So in this work, we just play with the multi wall of the carbon nanotube. So currently, it's very stable. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Hou, for your wonderful talk. It's really interesting topic. Before you leave, I think the iCANX-Talk will have they prepare a certificate for you for your talk. It's actually as the guest your host, I'd like to confer the certificate to you to appreciate your wonderful talk to the world. It's this you to connect the world between your research and the world. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. The certificate is on. Yes.